Indexing an array with an integer 0, 1, 2, etc. is not always the most meaningful way to do it. PHP provides a way to create what's called an associative array, where the index is actually a word rather than an integer. For example, we can set up an array for our DB connection parameters, so that each element of the array is named rather than numbered. In this way, we can refer to the hostname element of the array as DB connection hostname. So the array is set up, as before, with an array variable equals array, open parenthesis and close parenthesis, and a comma-separated list of mappings from a word, or the index, to the array element. So the host name for our DB collection is variable name DB connection host name in single quotes in brackets. So the value of the username element of the DB connection array is root. So root is referred to with the PHP code DB connection username. Let's look at the code for this. In a fresh code pane, open the snippet Examplets, Arrays, Associative, and save this in the demo folder so we can see the code syntax highlighting. Let's look at this code. Note that the value of the hostname element of DB connection is localhost, which is what we want to connect to, but it's referenced by DB connection hostname. The value of the username, which is root, is referenced by DB connection username, and so on. We've set up this particular script to simply print out or echo the hostname for our DB connection is, and then the value of the hostname. The database we connect to is, and then the value of DB connection database. You may recall, and if you don't, you can look back at the snippets to find it, that when we connected to our database, in fact, when we connected to our MySQL server, we used a variable called DB connected, and that was set to the value of the function MySQL connect with 3 parameters, and we had previously assigned the values of those parameters as variables. We can now change this to assigning the value of DB connected to the function MySQL connect, where the parameters are now the array variables hostname, username, and password. Similarly, when we used DB selected, we had a parameter of database name. We can now change this. You might think this is just making a meal of it, and that it's even more complicated than before. But by putting these parameters into an array, we make the code more elegant by generalizing the connection parameters, and we add a layer of security, which will be useful when we deal with that later on. For now, delete the connection code, save the script, and run it in your browser to demonstrate this type of associative array. In a new browser pane, open up Index of Demo and click Array Associative. And it echoes to the browser the host name for our DB connection is localhost, which is what we expected, just as we expected the database we connect to, Alpha CRM.